Welcome or welcome back to the second of two forums tonight. Now we will welcome candidates for San Ramon City Council Districts 1 and 3. Since the last City Council election, the city has transitioned from an at-large election process to district-based elections, and both districts are contested. From District 1, we have Luz Gomez challenging incumbent Scott Perkins. And in District 3, we have four candidates: Varun Kashal, Risa Mazleshi, Samira Rajwati, and Sadir Varos competing for the seat. We ask that all the candidates participate together because we believe that although only voters in the geographic areas will be able to vote for the candidates in that district, they will be making decisions that affect the entire community. So it's important that residents are familiar with all of the candidates and how they stand on the issues. I'm Gina Chanel, president and publisher of Danville San Ramon and the Pleasanton Weekly. My co-moderator tonight is Jeremy Walsh, the editor of Danville San Ramon and the Pleasanton Weekly. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce who coordinated and with the production and the recording of tonight's event. And a special shout out to Maria Cooper for being our timekeeper tonight. We will start with 2-minute opening statements from each candidate. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond to questions. A countdown timer will be visible to everyone. Candidates going over time will be alerted and stopped. At the end, each candidate will have 3 minutes for closing statements. Because of the time limit and the number of candidates, we have asked the candidates to save any rebuttals for closing remarks. Candidate Gomez from District 1 will give her opening statement first, and we will alternate who speaks first during the questioning portion of the program. So candidate Gomez, can you start us off?
Thank you so much. Thank you, San Ramon Chamber of Commerce, DanvilleSanRamon.com, and Forum Partners. And thanks to our audience for joining us tonight. When I decided to run for City Council after much encouragement from neighbors and city leaders, I had no idea I would be running a campaign during such a historic moment: a pandemic, urgent cries for racial and social justice, and a climate emergency with unprecedented wildfires and smoke. These challenges have only strengthened my resolve. This is the time for an experienced and visionary leader. My entire life has prepared me for this moment. My parents urged me to leave the world a better place, make a difference, and give back. After arriving in San Ramon 40 years ago, I went to college to do just that. I earned my master's in public health from UC Berkeley and devoted my career to serving the community. Whether I was teaching nutrition, promoting economic opportunity as chief of staff for a Contra Costa supervisor, or planning for regional sustainability at the Air District, I learned that listening and collaboration were critical for success. I now serve as a COVID-19 case and contact tracer, helping me to stop the spread of the virus, a role I never imagined. I raised my family here, and I love San Ramon. I serve on the Library Advisory Council, and I'm proud Rotarian, Seroptimist, and Free Musketeer. We provided thousands of face masks for our local hospitals and first responders. I plan to represent your interests, not special interests. That's why I'm not accepting developer contributions. Together, we can make this city the most sustainable, transparent, inclusive, and healthy community that it can be. With my background and experience, we will emerge from this pandemic stronger and wiser. Let's make San Ramon a place where future generations will thrive. Vote for me this November. And I breathe a breath of fresh air. You'll notice the difference.
Thank you. And candidate Kaushal?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I would like to thank the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce for organizing this event, and to all my fellow residents who are taking time out of their busy schedules to listen to us. These are unusual and unprecedented times, and I would like to use this forum to thank our emergency personnel's critical workers for their selfless service. I would also like to thank the parents in our community who have shown an incredible resilience in managing all that has come their way. although it is to the credit of our residents and our city government for building a San Ramon that is one of the best places to live, the fundamental question in this election is to look forward and decide how we want the city to be for our next generation. To all my fellow residents, my campaign is about you and it is for you. And like you, it is also my deepest desire to and a shared vision to see this beautiful city as strong, resilient, and thriving with a robust local economy. A city that's the next center of growth and innovation. A city where we cherish our open spaces, but also work towards building a San Ramon that is leading in clean energy and lowering its environmental impact. A city where we are not looking at binary options of funding or not funding our public safety, but using innovative ways to build parallel alternatives that augment safety for our most vulnerable instead of dismantling existing systems. A city where its residents are given the opportunity to participate in the budgetary process. To make this vision a reality, I ask for your support to my candidacy for the San Ramon City Council District 3, and I assure you of working towards serving the needs of our community and its residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Majlesi.
Hi. Yes, my name is Reza Majlesi. I'm a husband and a father of 2 teenagers. I'm a college professor teaching at local universities and colleges. For the past 15 years, I've been the chair of the biology department, one of the biggest departments in our college. I've been dealing with thousands of students, faculty, staffs, and administrators. I've been involved in budget committees of public schools dealing with millions of dollars budget per year. I'm also an elected senator at Peralta College District. We are engaged in policymaking and complying with the state's law. I also own a small business myself. Since 2004, my business shows a steady growth despite the downturn economy started in 2008. Many years ago, my family and I moved to San Ramon for its great schools, open space and parks, diversity and safety, among many other opportunities that the city offers. I'm running to preserve all those values. I wanted to run for the city council because I believe in public service. Although San Ramon has been very successful in the past, but it doesn't mean it will continue in the future without people's engagement. We have many challenges, but I believe there is nothing that we cannot achieve. We need people with experience, vision, and open mind in the city council. I'm a well-rounded person for this position. I know how to deal with public budget, reduce costs and expenses, create jobs, and help small business owners. I'm looking forward to answering your questions and hopefully earn your vote in this election time. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Perkins.
Thank you. I'm running for your re-election because I love the city of San Ramon, its people, its businesses, and our whole community. San Ramon's quality of life is the envy of neighboring communities. I was born into a Navy family that moved around frequently, but we settled in Palo Alto where I attended public schools. I joined the Boy Scouts and earned Eagle Scout at age 13. I attended the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis and was assigned to ship upon graduation and served as the first lieutenant, the navigator, and missile gunnery officer. While in the Navy, I earned my MBA. In 1980, we moved to San Ramon, and I've had a great career at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. I'm active in youth volunteer, and I have mentored 117 Eagle Scouts in Troop 84. I love nature, hiking, and San Ramon's open space. I am a community volunteer. I am a member of the Dougherty Valley San Ramon Rotary Club. I'm a member of the Historic Foundation, Arts Foundation, Library Foundation, and I serve as vice chair of the Finance Committee of the City of San Ramon. I've lived in District 1 for 40 years with my wife, a school teacher. We've raised our 3 sons, Michael, Bill, and Nathan, and our daughter, Mary, and have 3 grandchildren who I enjoy immensely. My priorities for the district are keeping the public safe, preserve open space on our precious hillsides, prioritizing funding for District 1 parks, especially the Woodlot and Old Crow Canyon Road, improving roads and traffic mitigation, better commuter options, safety and trail connections for bicycles and pedestrians, keeping San Ramon's budget balanced with a healthy reserve. San Ramon is a vibrant, well-managed city with so much to offer families as well as retirees. I work hard every day for San Ramon residents, and I look forward to earning your vote once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Rajwadi.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Samira Rajwade, and I'm running for San Ramon City Council District 3. I'm running for the families that are trying to raise a baby in a pandemic. I'm running for the people who feel as though their mental health services in the city have been lost. I'm fighting for the people who feel as though they're not welcomed by certain institutions within our city. I am fighting for racial and economic justice within this country, starting within our city. San Ramon, as a city, is complicit and is not separated from the issues of the rest of the world. If you saw yesterday, Breonna Taylor did not get justice. And it is important that we address that there are issues within our criminal justice system, especially here in San Ramon as well. I have taken testimonies from residents of San Ramon who have said they have felt discriminated against and by the police in San Ramon, and these are from accounts of community members who happen to be Black. I have heard people of color within this city say that they do not have the adequate resources or help for their specific mental illnesses. People of color in this country are the most misdiagnosed, and it's because we have a lack of people of color within therapy, within mental health professionals. We need to fight for the people of San Ramon. We need to stop siding with corporations. We need to stop siding with developers. We need to start fighting for the people who are living here and the people who are trying to cope with hard times, because I believe that the way that we can actually save this country is unity. And the way that we can save this country is community. And if we can become an example for the rest of the Bay Area with a Green New Deal, with redefining what public safety is, I believe we can make San Ramon on the map. And voting for me means a vote for history, because I'm here to change things and listen to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And candidate Veros.
Thank you, San Ramon Chamber of Commerce and Danville San Ramon News and everyone for joining us this evening. I understand San Ramon's unique quality of life. It's been a great privilege living in this beautiful community for the past 15 years with my wife while raising our 2 young kids. Both of them go to San Ramon Public Schools. I myself understand the importance of education and what it can achieve. I obtained my master's degree in software engineering from San Jose State University. It led me to a career in information technology, where I currently manage a global cloud operations team at OpenText Corporation. I also know the need to support our community. I've been involved in community services for the last 12 years. For the past 4, I have served as Commissioner for Parks and Community Services, where I oversaw parks and community services programs, including as a liaison for library, facilities, and field users committees. I'm also founder of San Ramon Cricket Association, a founding member and a steering committee member of San Ramon Valley Diversity Coalition, and also a Cub Scouts den leader. I'm running for city council because I believe that San Ramon is ideal city in which to live, raise a family, work, and to be committed to. Our city leadership is changing. Well-experienced Mayor Clarkson and Council Member Oloni are retired. There is going to be a large vacuum of leadership within the city council. I believe that my experience within the community and participating in rolling out the 10 years master plan update that will shape our community's future has given me the knowledge, experience, and foresight to help guide the city forward. I believe in community-based decision-making, where elected officials constantly meet and talk with residents, discuss their concerns, then work with them to find solutions. The people who directly experience a problem are often people with the best solutions to it. That is the approach that I will take if I'm given the chance to represent you on the city council. This is why the San Ramon community leaders such as Congressman Swalwell, Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Kahan, and Mayor Clarkson have supported my campaign. Please visit my website, sridharsanramonfor.com, to find about me, more about my campaign. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to the questioning portion of our evening, and you will have 90 seconds to answer the questions. Jeremy is going to start us off with the first question.
Thank you, Gina. And as a reminder, we will be going alphabetically. Don't worry, Gina and I will help guide the candidates and the viewers through that process. And just a reminder to the viewers that we are, as we said at the beginning of the mayoral candidate, just a reminder we're not able to monitor chat, but all of our questions were derived from what you all sent in, what readers sent in beforehand. Consolidated, there were a number of questions and similar topics. So our first question tonight, we'll start with Varun Kashal. And let's start with the COVID-19 pandemic. The coronavirus health crisis and shelter-in-place orders are soon entering their 8th month here in San Ramon. How would you like to see the city government aid and protect the many businesses and residents who have been so negatively impacted financially by this pandemic? And how do you feel about businesses reopening?
I understand that these are difficult times, and a full recovery in retail won't be completely possible until a vaccine is available and widely distributed. However, there are numerous steps that the City Council can take before and after the vaccine that can have an immediate impact on our business's bottom line. For instance, provide storefront improvement grants matching a minimum 30% or $3,000 to help businesses enhance the look of their stores and increase foot traffic. Number 2, let go of the license fees and any late fees or payment penalties for new and existing businesses for 1 year and work with the county to provide extensions on commercial property tax payments. Number 3, have a green business certification and assistance program run by the city that distinguishes and certifies small and medium-sized businesses as green business, allowing them to build their brand and take a leadership role as environmental stewards while increasing their customer base. Number 4, post-vaccine, conduct more community festivals like the Art and Wind Festival that brings the community together and increases foot traffic for our retailers. And lastly, limiting the delivery fees charged by third-party delivery providers to our restaurants. Thank you.
Thank you. Reza Majlesi, District 3.
Sure. Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
No problem. The COVID-19 health crisis and shelter-in-place orders are soon entering their 8th month in San Ramon. How would you like to see the city government aid and protect the many businesses and residents who have been so negatively impacted financially by this pandemic? And how do you feel about businesses reopening?
Sure. That's a fact that COVID-19 hit our economy locally pretty strong. And also is a fact that majority of our policies should be toward what we hear from the county and the state. So city has very limited amount of power to control this situation. However, in order to limited power, we have to do whatever we can to help small businesses. I think one of the most important things we can do is helping these small businesses to do curb pickup, can do opening their restaurants to the outside and open spaces. We can help the small businesses by giving them some break, not removing their fee, but delaying their fee that are paying for their business. We can delay this fee at least by a year so they can get back on their feet and pay for these expenses that they have. More than that, I think we have to be more patient. I don't think we can ask for any grant from city because our city is already in trouble. Our budget is already has almost $13 million deficit, or income is around or revenue is around $112 million, but our expenses $127 million. So asking the city to pay grant to these businesses is not realistic. We don't have money for that. But as much as we can, we have to help small businesses to make sure they can pass through this difficult time and we can come stronger in the long term.
That was the 90 seconds. I know it can go by quick. As a reminder, you can always touch on something in your closing comments if there's something you'd like to add on any specific topic or if there's a rebuttal in the closing. Next up, Scott Perkins, District 1.
The coronavirus has had a negative impact on all of our retail and businesses. Fortunately, some of them are able to adapt in the spaces out front. San Ramon created and updated our zoning ordinance to allow outside dining during the pandemic, and we continue to work with restaurants on their reopening plans. Our business recovery program has also had a positive impact, particularly on small business. The city spent $40,000 and hired Townsend and Associates to help registered businesses apply for federal and state loans and grants. The program has been hugely successful and has generated more than $10 million in grants for our local businesses. We've worked with the Supervisor Anderson and the County Health to educate the public on the importance of wearing masks and social distancing. I might also point out that our operating budget is balanced. It's our capital budget that accumulates funds and then spends funds. And our business license is only $35. So businesses aren't having to spend a lot of money on a San Ramon business license. Thank you.
Thank you. Samira Rajwade, District 3.
I want to redefine what a small business looks like. With the age of social media, we have businesses all over on Instagram, on Facebook, selling products online. There's people in San Ramon who are doing the same thing. I think that the San Ramon government needs to provide some sort of advertisement for different small businesses. We need to promote a culture of buying locally, because a robust city means a robust local economy. If we can promote how many artists that we have in the city, how many local entrepreneurs that we have in the city, these people don't even have to have a physical store. As long as the city shows them support for their own businesses, for their own dreams and endeavors, that is what is going to make and show that the city council has solidarity with residents, that the city council has solidarity for small businesses trying to make it through a pandemic. If we defund the police, unnecessary spending within the police department, especially with high militarization, and put it into a rainy day fund for small businesses in case any sort of climate change disaster happens or another pandemic during this time happens for economic disasters, we can be able to give them the resources and finances to keep their own businesses afloat. Having these financial education sources is so important for our residents, and this is why I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting for small businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Sridhar Varos, District 3.
Thank you. We all know that we are living in unprecedented times and overwhelming times, right? This is an issue that affects all of us. It is not just impacting health, but job loss, financial impact, mental health issues, increase in domestic violence. There's a lot of chaotic situation going on. But thanks to all our residents for wearing masks and maintaining social distance and keep our COVID-19 infection rates low. So at this time, my top priority must be that our community members stay healthy. To do this, I'll continue to collaborate with our county to make sure that residents are receiving the testing that is needed, and also collaborate with county on preparing logistics for the vaccinations that is coming in future. I strongly believe our small businesses are very important for vibrant communities, and it is sad that the pandemic is destroying our small businesses for no fault of their own. I had conversations with many business owners who are going through the toughest times in their lives. Meanwhile, some big landlords companies are threatening evictions. As your city council member, I will provide moral and financial support. I'll condemn these landlord businesses attempting to make advantage of small businesses and their unfair practices. I understand city is already providing Townsend consultancy services. That's great, but we need to step up and provide some more services like micro grants and loans. I also bring the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Advisory Committee to seek opportunities and solutions to help small businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final respondent, Luz Gomez, District 1.
Thank you so much. This is a question close to my heart. As a current COVID-19 case and contact tracer, this pandemic has really come close to home, and I understand and I see it firsthand. Our residents are very concerned about what this is doing to our budget and to our finances. Small businesses are being decimated. And while San Ramon has done a good job of informing our community, a fantastic website, we did do this special contract to bring down federal and state dollars. Kudos to the city. Unfortunately, our reserves have been going down in recent years, and I wish that they were healthier so that we could do some additional help to our small businesses. I have a plan to help us emerge stronger from this pandemic. I would like to convene a COVID-19 recovery task force, convened with small businesses and residents, the chamber, and other key stakeholders. I want to identify what are the highest priority needs and get to work on getting help for them. I want to advocate for more federal and state funds to come to San Ramon. I want to partner with the county's small business development program to assist businesses hands-on. I want to really work with our state treasurer, Fiona Ma, who is one of my endorsers. She has offered to do a webinar for our small businesses to share about innovative things happening in the state. I would like to propose a sales tax exemption for our small businesses and connect them to iBank. And lastly, as far as reopening, we all need to know what our current risk is and be very mindful of that as we move forward.
Thank you. Moving on to question 2. The other major storyline this spring and summer has been social justice reform. As a council member, what actions will you take, what policies will you recommend to affect positive change in community policing and criminal justice? Specifically address reallocating funds from the police department budget for mental health services, and your thoughts on an oversight committee. We're starting with candidate Majlesi.
Sure. Obviously, this is a hot topic these days, but what is clear to me is we don't need to duplicate what's happening in the national level and bring it to our town because it's divisive. I think excessive police force cannot solve the problem, neither police bashing. I think social inequality affects all lives, regardless if they are rich, poor, or in the middle. So regarding these recent events on funding the police department, I have to say that I cannot support unfunding the police because to me, it's causing more trouble than anything else. However, some of those responsibilities of the police, like responding to mental health issue, needs to be readjusted and addressed. I don't think they're trained for that reason. So if you're gonna move it away from as their job, then it makes sense if you decrease their budget for that reason only. However, I honestly think that our police department has been doing a great job. Although I wanna see a better result. As you know, our city is in the 7th safest city in the town, while we have more police officers, let's say, compared to Danville, that is the number 1. We have more police per 1,000 residents compared to Danville, but our result is not as good as Danville. So I want to see a better result for spending all this money.
Thank you. Candidate Perkins.
San Ramon has one of the finest police forces in the nation. And time again, we're noted as being one of the safest cities in the entire country and the state. Domestic violence and mental health of our youth and adults is a serious issue, and I look to work with the county on developing more relationship with county health and mental health staff. It is important that we have these discussions in our community as to how we can improve the response. I read the city police reports every week, and there is a substantial number of police calls that are related to mental health distress calls. And we do follow up with these families and get them resources to deal with their mental health issues so that the family can get help, that the patient can get help, and hopefully we won't have to make as many calls to that household, that they will get the help they need. I do not support defunding police. The city has already adopted the 8 can't wait principles of de-escalation, duty to intervene, bans chokeholds, requires warnings before shootings, bans shooting at moving vehicles, exhaustive alternatives before shooting, and use of force continuum. San Ramon has adopted all of these elements, and I look forward to working with the community to help mental health problems.
Thank you. Candidate Rajwati.
Hello, everyone. So as you may or may not know, I was one of the main organizers for the Black Lives Matter protest in San Ramon. And what the Defunding the Police movement is about emphasizing what public safety is. It's about redefining what this is. If we have 49% of students in San Ramon saying that they have had suicidal tendencies, that is not public safety. And let's say, for example, if we reallocate the amount of duties for the police out of mental health services and give it to mental health professionals, why are we still giving the same amount of funding to the police if we're giving them a less amount of jobs? To me, that makes no sense financially. So I think that defunding the police means, one, reallocating the funds into better mental health services and making sure that we can have actual good trained professionals and social workers who can handle mental health crisis calls. I also think that San Ramon Police Department's ban on the chokeholds was a performative act, because I don't think that banning a chokehold is going to solve the ingrained systematic injustice and racism which is in our country. We have had Black residents who have said specifically that the San Ramon Police Department has treated them unfairly. And I think that it's pretty insulting that our own city department does not even take that into account, does not even hear our residents for that. I stand with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Veros.
I understand the civil unrest that is sweeping across the nation. I support Black Lives Matter. Watching the brutal killing of George Floyd by a police officer filled my emotions with anger and sadness. As I saw there was a planned protest in our community, I joined the Black Lives Matter peace protest along with my son to show our support and solidarity. I'm proud of our community for participating in peaceful protests without destroying public and private properties. I'm proud of San Ramon Police Department for supporting the protests by providing adequate security to the protest participants. We need to observe that San Ramon is ranked as the safest place to raise family in California, and credit goes to our police department and peace-loving community. That's like many other good reasons that I do not support defunding the San Ramon Police Department. I strongly support the police department for all the good things they are doing for our community. And regarding the mental health services, county provides a lot of good services for healthcare as well as mental services. So we need to continue to partner with our county and make sure that residents are aware of it. And also, one more important thing is Discovery Council. That's like another nonprofit organization that is providing a lot of good mental health services. There are a lot of other options that are available. So we need to make sure people utilize those services and make sure that they continue to work with the city, and also make sure that within the community they represent as they want to be a good neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Gomez.
Thank you so much. And I would like to perhaps restate the question a little bit, not just about social justice, but also about racial justice. On June 3rd, those of us who participated in the peaceful Black Lives Matter protests for racial justice witnessed something beautiful. The community really came together around this. And we heard firsthand about the real lived pain of some of our Black and brown neighbors as they're profiled on the way home. Thankfully, we have a police chief that gets it, and he promptly issued a heartfelt message to the community on video, including an acknowledgement that there's always room for improvement and that we can always do more. For that, I'm very grateful, and I look forward to working with our police department on continuous and conscious bias training and helping to get the word out about the recruitments that we do, so that little by little, more of our communities of color can join San Ramon PD and reflect our diverse community. A concern that I have is that the police department budget has been increasing by about $1 million per year for the past 5 years, while remaining with the constant FTE of 88 FTEs. This is not sustainable, and I want to look under the hood and see why. A related concern is that policing alone does not make a community safe. Investing in community services does. And that's something that I want to reverse the trend of decreasing money in that department. Lastly, a specific policy, I want San Ramon to join GARE, the Government Accountability for Racial Equity. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final candidate Kasha.
Thank you. I believe what has happened in the major cities across this nation is appalling. But I also think that we cannot see our police with the same lens. Having interacted with the police officers in our neighborhood, I have observed mutual admiration and respect between the residents and the police. As a council member, my decision would be rooted in data, which tells us that San Ramon Police is the most cost-efficient, effective per capita, and the police has taken numerous steps to train officers in de-escalation tactics and better respond to mental health calls. Having said that, there are further actions that the City Council can initiate, such as, one, the City Council could collaborate with our county to put in place a parallel system where police deals with violent crimes and non-violent crimes related to mental illness are handled by mental health professionals supported by the police, creating a hybrid model. Number two, the police would provide comprehensive use of force reports to the City Council to build transparency. Number three, expand upon and increase participation in free programs such as crime-free business, multi-housing, and neighborhood watch. Number four, increase public and police engagement to build strong relationships. And lastly, the Oversight Committee is a good idea if implemented correctly with people knowledgeable about criminal justice system and policing so they can conduct a proper oversight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question, we will start with Scott Perkins, District 1. In light of the upcoming regional housing needs allocation cycle, and that San Ramon's RENA obligation is likely to increase, how would you go about identifying locations that could accommodate these new affordable units? And what is your position on Bishop Ranch City Walk Master Plan?
The state mandates every 8 years that we develop a housing plan to accommodate what's called the Regional Housing Needs Assessment, or RENA numbers. Those numbers are likely to be on the order of 10 to 15,000 units in San Ramon. Fortunately, City Walk is going to help us to reach those goals. City Walk is 4,500 units that will be built over 27 years. That's roughly 200 to 300 units per year will be built in the city core. When our businesses in San Ramon, particularly in Bishop Ranch, often have the same questions: where will our employees live? They don't want to have to drive from Martinez or San Leandro or Tracy. They would love to live in San Ramon. So by building City Walk, we can meet the needs of many of those people. We'll also meet their transit needs because Bishop Ranch will provide transportation to the BART stations and from the BART stations to all the residents, plus all the workers. So we focused on protecting open space, protecting our existing neighborhoods, protecting our local shopping centers, which where it is, and reallocating housing to the downtown core and keep it off the precious hillsides, and creating a vibrant and walkable community right in the city center. Thank you.
Thank you. Samira Rajwade, District 3.
So I think that it's really important as a city, we focus on renewable, sustainable, affordable housing. I think right now what we're going through is a climate crisis. Governor Gavin Newsom recently just said, I believe it was yesterday, by 2035, we want to get rid of the sale of gas-powered cars and transition into electric-powered cars and other vehicles. Our city is going to have to figure out solutions for 2045, for 2100, and make sure that we innovate for the future. We don't innovate for 2020. We innovate so that the people in 2100 can be able to breathe air without having air purifiers. We need to make sure that our city is accessible through transit and also accessible through walking. We need to make sure that the residents of the Bay Area with the rising homelessness crisis can be able to afford a home in our city, because everyone deserves a home. Housing is a human right. And whether or not our society has told you that people deserve a home or not, that is absolutely inhumane. The Bay Area, more and more people are sleeping on the street in tents, and it's important that we as a city take that responsibility to make sure all of the residents are housed, because housing, again, I will emphasize, is a human right. So let's make San Ramon the center of change and a movement for all people to have their human rights met. Thank you.
Thank you. Shida Varos, District 3.
So it is very important that we educate and share information about regional housing needs allocation for our affordable housing. You know, the implications are quite severe if we are not going to meet our 8 years RENA quota. Especially like this 2023 cycle, we are already falling behind 811 units. And top of it, just 2 days before in the city council, they mentioned that we need to, again, the next 8-year cycle, we need to meet 4,720 units of quota. So that's a lot of housing that we need to be built and prepared ready for our affordable housing. And coming to the city walk, how it is going to help us is there out of 4,500 units, around 15%, that is around 675 units are going to be part of our affordable housing. You know, it is very important that we provide affordable housing for our community, especially the workforce that work within our community, like police department, or it is firefighters, or it is our teachers, nurses. They're all looking for affordable housing, and it is our, as a community, our responsibility to make sure that is available. And I'm very proud that by District 3 provides 86% of that affordable housing within San Ramon. That's like 1,873 units out of 2,751 units. So I would definitely provide the guidance for and continuously work on our required RENA quota and make sure that we provide affordable housing to all required residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Luz Gomez, District 1.
Thank you. So yeah, one of the key roles of any city council is land use policy. And as your city council member, I will make sure that we review those policies to make sure that they make sense for the residents, that they make sense for our future. We exist in the context of a region. We're not a little island. And therefore, as population grows in our region and as we attract more people, we're going to have to make room for them. However, current policies, I don't believe, go far enough. Our affordable housing ordinance only asks 15% affordability of any new project. I think it would make sense in certain instances to ask for more. And I would be willing to do that because you know what? Affordable in San Ramon means what a dental hygienist might earn. You know, we're talking about our bread and butter, the people who work here every day. We need to be able to house them. We need to be able to house our next generation. So as far as City Walk is concerned, yes, it goes a long way toward meeting our regional housing needs allocation that's coming up with a much higher number than we're used to seeing. However, City Walk, as proposed, fell short of protecting the future and thinking about schools and thinking about traffic sufficiently and having a density that's similar to some places in Manhattan. I think we as a city need to do better and can do better. And as your council member, I would promise that I will look at proposals more carefully so that the future will be brighter. Thank you.
Thank you. Varun Kaushal, District 3.
Thank you. I believe that as public officials, it is our duty to educate residents about regional housing needs allocation, and that every 8 years, the state of California determines how much housing the state needs, and the Association of Bay Area Governments then provides the allocation to San Ramon. The second aspect is to ensure adequate affordable housing while still preserving our open spaces. As a city council, we need to ensure that any new development is, one, focused on building transit-oriented, mixed-use communities that use complete street concepts, allowing people to walk and bike between destinations. Number two, development is close to transit and shopping, reducing the amount of driving. Number three, ensure new housing considers the needs of people with disabilities, older people, and children, and ensures equal housing opportunity. Number four, work with school districts to ensure schools will not be overcrowded and conduct traffic mitigation. Five, provide for and maintain a comprehensive bicycle and pedestrian system that connects the new development to the other parts of the city. Number six, building economically sustainable communities that invest in energy efficiency, wastewater management, and efficient transportation. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final respondent, Reza Majlesi, District 3.
Yeah, thank you for the question. As mentioned, the number of the housing each city needs is coming from the state, is not coming from the town or city. So we are supposed to just follow the state law. However, we could ask for less if we can prove that it's going to negatively impact our nature. So when it comes to San Ramon, the question is, where are we going to build this number of the housing? We can choose this one to be built as a single family home in the Doherty Valley, or we can use a multi-complex, dense complex in the area that is close to transportation and work. I think City Council got it right. I think they built this 45, or they allowed this 4,500 units to be built in the right area that is close to transportation, is gonna less impact our traffic, and hopefully is not going to affect our school district either, although that's questionable. So I think that project is going to check a bunch of the checkbox that city wants to have. And also I have to mention that about the affordability, 15% of the housing affordability, again, comes from the state, and our developer and the city also complied with that law. So increasing the affordable house is going to affect the single family homes prices, and we have to make a balance between
Thank you.
the people are really resident of the San Ramon versus the people that
One to 90 seconds.
We need to move on. Sorry, just limited time, lots of candidates. So this, question number 4, we're going to start with candidate Rajwadi. Do you agree with the county's decision to move forward with a 0.5-cent sales tax measure? Why or why not?
I agree with this measure because I believe that the county right now is trying their best to make some sort of economic relief for COVID-19. However, I do believe that too much taxation on the people and on our residents is not good, especially now. There needs to be more reserves for people to save their money and to make sure that they are being economically secure, and make sure that the county is really making sure that they have enough sources and enough funds to make this come through. That's all I have to say for now, but thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Barros.
I do not support the 1 cent tax increase at this point of time, because already our residents are suffering with a lot of financial loss because of these unprecedented times created by the COVID-19. I think I would look into more of how we can reduce the expenses and see how we can be more generate revenues through our businesses. That's what I'll be looking into it, so rather than forcing additional taxes on our residents. And moreover, we need to see that whatever the taxes that are right now it is generated, we need to look into each of those expenses and make sure that is provided, that information is shared with the residents, so that at least they'll get a clear picture on it. So that's one reason that I'm not going to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Gomez.
Thank you. So, I am kind of on the inside working with the county, and I can see firsthand how over time, all of our resources have been stretched very thin. The safety net that is meant to support those in need right now is like leaking severely. We never recovered from the last economic downturn at the county. And we have been fighting to just try to claw ourselves out of that to be able to provide even the most basic level of services that our community needs. Not only that, but a lot of the money that is collected through sales taxes like these come right back to San Ramon in services. So while I agree with my fellow candidates that seems like a really difficult time to be asking people to dig a little deeper into their pockets, it's also exactly the time when we need to be investing in the services that our community needs at a time that is critical. So I actually am supportive of this measure, and I hope that others will be too. We need these services, and we need this money to come right back to San Ramon and to our own community that needs it.
Thank you. And candidate Kaushal?
Thank you. It is no surprise that COVID has made a dent in our budget and that the city had to dip into its reserves to fill in this gap. It is also a possibility that if the recovery is not as expected, that the city would have to dip further into its reserves to ensure the delivery of services is not impacted. The goal of the next council would be to ensure a balanced budget so it's fiscally prudent, get the reserves back to the state mandated level, lower the expenses, and expand the sources of revenue for the city. But having an increased sales tax is not the only option or not the only way to go about it. Some of the ways the city council can do this or the city can take this on is reducing the city's utility cost by powering all city-owned properties with solar energy so that they are self-sufficient. This would not only reduce greenhouse gas emissions, save money, stimulate the local economy, but also generate local jobs. Number two, by transitioning our city's image from a bedroom community to the next hub for entrepreneurship and innovation. Number three, involve the residents to be participative in the city's budget process, allowing people to decide how their tax dollars need to be allocated. And lastly, we have the highest test scores with one of the smartest student population in this city. And I would work on policies to tap this enormous untapped potential of our next generation, encourage minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses to open here. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Majlesi?
Yeah, no, I don't support that measure. We all remember last time when they increased the tax on the gas to rebuild our infrastructure in California, what happened? The money was taken from people and nothing happened. I think the government has a tendency to take money from government, from the people for a good reason, but is not going to spend it correctly. I think to balance a budget, we have to start with the cost sharing. For instance, we have over $36 million in our budget that is not being funded yet. And I think it's time for our city employee to pay a fair share of their pension. We have also retiree health plan that is causing a lot of pressure on our budget. I think we have to look at our services and facilities and make sure that they are not duplicated so we can decrease our expenses instead of asking people to pay more money for us. I'm sure we can do it as our neighbor city in Walnut Creek. They decreased by $12 million of their budget last year. We have almost the same number of the population. We have almost the same amount of budget, but we are spending too much, and we can cut it by decreasing the pension, by holding corporate accountable. For instance, corporate that are using our street, they're not paying anything, like FedEx, for instance. All this delivery happens for free.
Thank you. And last candidate Perkins. You're muted.
I don't believe that this is a good time to raise sales taxes. Sales taxes, by their very nature, are regressive, meaning that they hurt the poorest of us the most because they end up paying more of their income out in sales taxes. So this is really not a good time. This pandemic has hurt so many people, and I believe that those that are the poorest are the ones that are actually being hurt the most. Those are the people that are often, they can't work at home, like engineers and software engineers and many others.
Did we lose? I think we did. Okay. Oh,
We can move on.
yeah, I think we should. He was the last candidate to answer that question. So you want to move on to 5?
That sounds good. And I'll reintroduce it if he's able to reconnect. We apologize for the apparent technical difficulty on his end. So this will actually be our final question to allow ample time for closing remarks. And we will start here with Sridhar Varos, District 3. This marks the first city council election under district-based voting for council positions. How do you plan to address the concerns and priorities of the entire city and not just and not only the area you represent? What will you do when those needs seem to conflict?
Thank you. I understand that our city had to go with the district election to avoid lawsuits by violation, to address lawsuits by violating California Voting Rights Act. I know our city staff working hard in sharing district election information by every possible medium. However, there is a lot of confusion going on within the community about district elections. Like friends and supporters call me and ask me, hey, why don't I see your yard signs within our neighborhood and all that. But then I appreciate staff, all their efforts in sharing information. And one more thing is the key thing with this district is about making sure the candidates that are running need to have a mindset of as a San Ramon 1 unit. Today, when I'm looking at 4 candidates running in District 3, that itself shows that the district elections is helping, encouraging a more diverse population to participate in local elections. That's a good sign, as there is a pros and cons with the concept and having districts. But the key is as the visibility and the ideas to provide San Ramon as one is going to be important in this leadership. And as a commissioner for Parks and Community Services for the past 4 years, participating in rollout 10 years of master plan update that shapes our community's future, provided me with that experience and mindset. So I'll continue as a council member, mentor, build more future leaders, and encourage them to be part of our city leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. And it looks like we have Scott Perkins back on with us. Maybe what we'll have you do is just complete the 30 seconds of that answer in your closing remarks. We can see how we are on timing, but we did move on to the next question. And for the benefit of everyone, I will just repeat our 5th and final question, but so Mr. Perkins can hear it as well.
Thank you.
All right. And next up, respondent will be Luz Gomez, District 1. This marks the first city council election under district-based voting for council positions. How do you plan to address the concerns and priorities of the entire city and not only the area you represent? What will you do when those needs seem to conflict?
Thank you, Jeremy. This is a very good question. In talking to our residents and our voters, I have heard a lot of confusion and frankly, a lot of people who didn't even know that we're doing district elections until we finally sent a postcard to every resident. And now that seems to have helped. But, to address the concerns of residents, I pride myself on being someone who listens to everyone, who listens to all sides. And then I come to a conclusion about what's best for the majority of residents, for our whole city and for our future. So when it comes to districts, yes, you residents will be electing us for a particular district. And I would imagine that we will be fighting for the things that our specific voters care about. But in general, what I plan to do is to serve the entire city and to listen to everyone. That's what we're here for as public servants. That's what the community expects from us. I hope that we all would agree that we will be serving all of San Ramon and not just our particular districts. Thank you.
Thank you. Varun Kaushal, District 3.
I believe in being a servant leader who genuinely cares for his people, is approachable, and focuses on removing impediments and building the capabilities of the team. Even though this election is district-wide, I understand that I'd be a council member for the whole of San Ramon and not just for District 3. And because of that, this would allow me to keep a holistic view rather than a very narrow one. The important thing to understand here is that all of us love the city equally and want the best for our community. However, when there are disagreements, I believe in listening with patience and empathy, even though when there are differing viewpoints. I believe that we need to set an example in our community in creating an open and transparent environment where different viewpoints are welcome. I also believe in carrying a progressive, solution-oriented mindset, an inclusive leadership style, and being service-oriented. Having worked both in private and public sectors, I understand managing multiple stakeholders and collaborating with my colleagues to keep the business of the city moving forward. And as a new member on the council, asking for help when needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Reza Majlesi, District 3.
Well, I don't think I agree with the premise of the question. I don't think there's gonna be any disagreement between the people in the city council just because they are from different districts. We all gonna work toward one goal, and that is improving the quality of life for our residents. Dealing with traffic is gonna affect everybody. Having a balanced budget is gonna help everybody. Decreasing the cost and improving the revenue, helping small business owners is going to affect everybody in a good ways. So I don't see any necessary competition between the different districts. I'm going to work with everybody in the city, with the city manager and the staff to make sure that everybody enjoys living in the San Ramon. Safety and security is going to be paramount for everybody's life here. Having a school district that is strong and has a great potential for our students is another goal that we all share. So I don't see really any competition here, but regardless, I think we can work together for a better San Ramon.
Thank you. Scott Perkins, District 1.
Thank you. I have experience working with the entire city. I have walked every single street in this city. I knocked on 15,000 doors to talk to residents of San Ramon. So I know every single neighborhood in this city. I know where their problems are. I recognize whether it's traffic, whether it's the school, congestion, whatever the problems are, I've talked to the residents all over San Ramon. San Ramon only has one budget. It doesn't have district budgets. We have a balanced operating budget. We have had a balanced operating budget for the last 16 years I've been on council. We have a 40% operating reserve. We are AAA rated, and I'm on the finance committee, so I know these things inside and out. San Ramon is a well-run city because all of the council members in the past paid attention to the entire city. We didn't say, well, I'll help you in District 1 with your streets if you'll help me in District 3 with your parks. It doesn't gonna work. We need to all work together to make the whole city a wonderful place to live. And that's my pledge. I will always work for the entire city of San Ramon.
Thank you. And our final respondent to our final question of the evening, Samira Rajwade, District 3.
I think that this is a fight between whether we're going to have a better future and whether we are going to elect people who do not have the same innovative mindset. I believe that I don't think majority of people in San Ramon want to see orange skies and have trouble breathing their air every single wildfire season. I don't think that the residents of San Ramon, especially the students in my area, in which District 3 has schools, affordable housing, and also the community college, want to see racial graffiti and hate crimes happen in our city and in our town. I think that with me being 21 years old, with me having to live in San Ramon for the past 17 years of my life, I know the problems that are happening. I know the problems that the youth are actually going through because I have been through the San Ramon school systems. I know the ins and outs of what is happening within San Ramon. We only focus our city on family friendly, on kid friendly. We don't ever talk about any of the other age groups. We don't talk about youth participation in our civic engagement. I want to make sure that our democracy is flourishing in our city. I want to make sure that our civilians actually are having their issues being talked about so that they can actually engage within our own civil discourse. This is about civic engagement. This is about community engagement. And I, as a city member, decide that I want everyone, despite district, to be able to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. And as I mentioned, that does mark the end of our questioning period this evening. Each council candidate will now have up to 3 minutes to provide closing remarks. We will go in reverse alphabetical order this time, keep you on your toes. So that means we'll start with Sridhar Varos, District 3.
Once again, thank you, San Ramon Chamber of Commerce and Danville San Ramon News and everyone for joining us this evening. I'm an engineer and community volunteer. My wife, a pharmacist. We have lived in San Ramon for 15 years, raising our 2 young sons who are 16 and 10 years as they attend San Ramon Public Schools. I'm running for San Ramon City Council to protect our great quality of life. I want to start by telling you the things about the city that I'm proud of. As Parks and Community Services Commissioner, I'm glad to let you know that we have more parks and parkland per capita than any other city in California. I'm proud of our beautiful parks, trails, green spaces, golf courses, and open spaces. As a liaison to Library Committee, I'm proud of our libraries that are open for extended hours for public access. As a commissioner, I know the importance of arts in the community to help foster civic pride. I'm proud of our utility arts program that helps to achieve this. I have also worked closely with our community and community leaders on updating our 10 years master plan that shapes the future of the city. Though the work does not stop here, my priorities should you elect me as your representative on the City of Council are safety, protecting our open spaces, and managing our finances with a balanced budget. Regarding our safety, this includes a safe neighborhood, safe schools, and safe roads. I'll make sure a fully staffed police department while providing them required tools and training to keep our neighborhoods safe. I'll continue to work with the school district to keep our students safe from violence, drugs, bullying. We must continue to engage with our transportation expert to ensure road safety by establishing necessary safety measures. All our open spaces are sacred. I oppose any new development that threatens our beautiful natural resources. I believe that strong finance is key to the foundation of our city. I know that we are in unprecedented times due to the COVID-19 pandemic with tough economic challenges ahead. I will study our budget and work diligently to ensure funds continue to be spent wisely and efficiently while looking at creative ways to increase revenue and maintain a balanced budget. I know these are not the only issues that community is currently facing. I'll focus on addressing our small business challenges, mental health issues, and District 3 specific issues like Doherty Valley retail space problems, Doherty Valley tree problems as well. I'm a member of Rotary Club and San Ramon Chamber of Commerce. Appreciating my 12 years of community services, I'm supported by Congressman Swalwell, Assembly Member Rebecca Bauer-Kahan, Mayor Clarkson, Council Members Oloni, Perkins, County Supervisor Anderson, Community College VP Andy Lee, and many other community leaders. Please visit my website, sridharforsanramon.com, to find out more about me, my campaign. Earning your vote would be my greatest honor. Please vote for me on November 3rd or early. Thank you.
Thank you. Samira Rajwade, District 3.
I'm here to bring a breath of fresh air into San Ramon politics. I am here to talk about the issues that families need to see. Did you know in San Ramon, it costs more to send your toddler to daycare than it does to send your 18-plus child to community college? We need to talk about how our city is going to fight for us, for our affordability, for our development of our children. We need to make sure that we're focusing on fighting for our people rather than fighting for corporations. And I will say that I'm one of the first city council candidates running that will say, I do not support Chevron. I think that we need to tax the hell out of Chevron, honestly, because Chevron is a big oil company. And we cannot have big oil in our world anymore. We need to invest in smart grids. We need to invest in companies that are with the Buy Clean Act in California. We need to make sure that we emphasize our local small businesses for solar. My father, he's in the solar business, and I want to see his company. I want to see local small businesses who are doing solar, who are green, get incentivized to actually build in our city, to encourage these small businesses who are green to be in our city. I want to make sure that our residents of color, whether they're Asian, whether they're Black, whether they're white, whether they're Mexican, like, I want everyone to come together, like I saw at the protest at Black Lives Matter, standing on top of the back of that truck, leading the crowd. I saw everyone from all different races in San Ramon, for the first time in my life, actually come together for a cause. That was the first time where I saw community in San Ramon, because honestly, in San Ramon, we don't have community, because we need to have a whole new update. Our graphic designing on our website needs an update. Our people that are representing us needs an update. We need new, fresh faces. We need new, fresh ideas. And I think that I myself, from being a community organizer, an activist, and a political journalist, I have the ideas that can expand past what is the norm and the status quo, because we do not need the status quo anymore. If we are planning for 2100, if we are planning for the future, we need to have the future lead us, because my generation, Generation Z, is going to have to combat the rising rates of climate change. We're going to have to combat how much our housing prices have been raised. My generation is screaming into a void for someone to hear us, and I plan on being that voice for them. I plan to make sure that we can deconstruct our corporate influence in our city and white supremacist influence in our city. And I will be the first candidate and the only candidate to be honest and blunt with you. Even if you disagree with me, you can still talk to me, because this is all about what I'm supposed to do. I am your city official. Vote for me. My name is Samira. Peace out. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Scott Perkins, District 1.
Thank you for listening to us today. I really want to work with you, and I really want to hear from you. I'm proud of what we've accomplished in San Ramon. You all moved here because it was a wonderful place. And it's a wonderful place because we've had good, strong city leadership for many, many years. We continue to be the most desirable place in the East Bay for families to raise their children. I love the outdoors. I hike the outdoors. I hike the East Bay Regional Park District. I hike the John Muir Trail. I've climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. I've climbed Mount Whitney. I love the outdoors, and I really want to preserve our hillsides forever. Uncertain times call for leaders with experience and dedication and compassion. My priorities are keeping the public safe, preserve our open spaces and our precious hillsides, prioritizing funding for parks, especially the Woodlot and Old Crow Canyon Road Park, improving roads and traffic mitigation, reducing traffic congestion, better commuter options, safety and trail connections for pedestrians and bicyclists. We haven't spoken about the new Iron Horse Trail Bridge that's going to be built over the Bollinger at the Iron Horse Trail. It's going to save commuters time. It's going to be safer for pedestrians. It's going to be safer for bicyclists. I believe that we can keep San Ramon's budget balanced. We have for 16 years, and I'm sure we can continue to do it. We have a 40% operating reserve. We are Standard & Poor's AAA rated, one of only 18 cities in the state. Our employees continue to contribute to the retirement, the entire employee portion, plus 3% of the employer portion. My collaborative leadership is recognized by persons that have endorsed me, like Congressman Eric Swalwell, State Senator Steve Glazer, Supervisor Candace Anderson, Mayor Bill Clarkson, Council Member Phil Alone. All these people have endorsed me because they know me and they know I can do the job. I hope you can visit my website at perkinsforsanramon.com, learn more about my campaign. I'm always accessible. My phone number and email and my home address are on the city website. I am accessible. I'm the only person that puts my home address out there and my home phone number. Don't hesitate to get in touch with me. Call me, email me, visit me, and go to perkinsforsanramon.com. Thank you for listening, and vote for me.
Thank you. Reza Majlesi, District
Yes, thank you. I wanted to first thank the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum. Definitely, we made lots of progress in the last few years, and I'm running to build upon our past achievements. I love San Ramon, and giving back to our community and making it a better place for everyone is my highest priority. To me, a council member should have three important qualifications: experience, vision for the future, and an appropriate character. Among all the first-time candidates, I believe I'm the most qualified one to serve on the City Council. My experience in the budget committees of universities and colleges dealing with government budgets and complying with its policy gives me a unique experience to serve the city. As a senator in the Peralta College District, policy making and overseeing budget is one of my core responsibilities. As a business owner, I know how to handle a tight budget while staying on track. I know how to handle and reduce expenses and generate money for the city. In the world of business, there is one key element that guarantees your success, which is a balanced budget. We must pay our bills instead of having an unpaid liability in our balance sheet. Our community expects us to deliver exceptional services. Fulfilling this expectation requires a balanced budget, and to do so, we have to have a strong local economy. I'm deeply committed to help small business owners and create jobs. My vision for the future mirrors that of the cities. I care about our community, about our kids, our seniors, and our schools. There are many priorities, but safety and security is paramount. I care about preservation of the environment and open spaces. Therefore, we should limit construction on the hillsides. I'm sure you agree with me that candidates' character is also important. People should be able to rely on a candidate. With me, what you see is what you get. I'll be working with all members of the council, the city manager, and employees to get things done and solve problems. I'm not afraid to get behind the best idea, even if it's not mine. I value facts in decision-making process while keeping the community best interest in mind. Our city faces many challenges and had many success at the same time. I'm optimistic about our future, but we must work together to solve our problems. I have worked with hundreds of educators and administrators during my tenure, and I can do the same for our city. I possess a unique set of skills that allow me to represent the community and reach out to diverse population. I may not have all the answers, but I have a strong purpose. And for those reasons, I respectfully ask for your vote, and I'll be honored to serve you. Please check my Facebook account to learn more about my plans. Thank you.
Thank you. Varun Kaushal, District 3.
My fellow residents, in my opening remarks, I had said to you that my campaign is about our shared vision and dreams that we have for this beautiful city we call our home. My vision for our city is one where we are not just building a city for the next 4 years, rather laying the foundations for a city that is suited for our next generation. A vision that is more than building a bedroom community dependent on its retail sector for sales tax dollars, to a city that is tapping into the enormous untapped potential of our next generation, building a future San Ramon that's innovative, entrepreneurial, and business focused. A San Ramon that is a hub of clean energy, automation, advanced manufacturing, healthcare, education technology, robotics, and fintech, while still managing and caring for its environment and open spaces. As a city, our students are one of the smartest in the country. My vision is to encourage entrepreneurship and provide seed funding to the next generation of startups and small businesses to open right here in San Ramon. I believe that our next generation should focus on becoming job providers rather than job seekers. A vision to help our existing small businesses in these tough times by providing storefront improvement grants to enhance the look of their stores, letting go of license fees and canceling late fees and late payment penalties for 1 year. For our new and existing businesses, the city has the power to provide certain tax exemptions for those that are engaged in things like clean energy research and development. A vision for our city to be reducing its carbon footprint by installing solar panels on all city-owned properties, in a sense, creating city microgrids to generate electricity for all city government operations. This would save money, stimulate the local economy, and create jobs. A vision that is not about defunding our police and is about bringing transparency to our police department, such that their use of force reports are reviewed by the city council. I would also collaborate with Contra Costa County to ensure we put in place programs to answer nonviolent calls related to mental illness by mental health professionals and EMR. A vision that includes the community to build and set priorities for the city budget, allowing the people to decide how their tax dollars are allocated. My fellow residents, it was a great honor to have the opportunity and share some of my visions for our beautiful city with you all. To make this vision a reality, I would ask for your vote and support in the upcoming general elections to represent you as a council member in the city of San Ramon. Thank you.
Thank you. And to wrap up this evening, Luz Gomez, District 1.
Thank you, and thank you all for engaging in our democracy tonight. The next few years are key for San Ramon's future. We will begin updating the housing element of the general plan and the city's 2011 climate action plan. We will receive a new regional allocation of thousands of homes that we must plan for. We will draw new districts with the results of this year's census. And most importantly, we will begin to emerge from this pandemic. I believe the ways of the past will not serve San Ramon tomorrow. Simply doing more of what we have done will not be enough. Now is the time for a council member that has the right combination of government and public health experience and a plan to get us there in a more inclusive, transparent, and sustainable way. San Ramon will continue to grow and attract new residents. To maintain our quality of life, we will need a mindful leader that thinks holistically, someone that will keep in mind not only the bottom line, but the well-being of our residents and future generations. We need representatives that are independent from developers and special interests. This is why I'm not accepting developer or realtor contributions. My opponent voted to decrease our reserves from 40% to 36% in May. In my opinion, that was going in the wrong direction. I was hoping that we would get a question about climate change. In my view, this is one of the biggest threats to our future, and cities must do all that they can to address it. I will propose creating a sustainability commission to oversee implementation of the next climate action plan and propose ordinances like requiring solar panels on all new homes. San Ramon is poised to be a leader in sustainability in our region and beyond. I have the right experience, skills, and commitment to lead San Ramon through the next critical years as we plan for inevitable growth to meet the needs of our local workforce and the next generation. I have a proven record of community engagement, listening for feedback, and collaborating well to achieve desired results. I've been endorsed by successful city and state leaders, including State Treasurer Fiona Ma, former San Ramon Mayors Pat Boom, Abram Wilson, Mary Lou Oliver, and former council member Jim Blickenstaff. They agree it's time for change. I'm also honored to have the endorsement of the Sierra Club, the League of Conservation Voters of the East Bay, and 350 Bay Area Action. But I'm most proud of the hundreds of residents, education, and health professionals, as well as small business leaders that have joined Team Luz. This is a true grassroots campaign. Please visit luzforsanramon.com for more details. I would love to represent District 1 and serve all of the residents of San Ramon. Vote for Luz Gomez in November. It will be a breath of fresh air and you'll notice the difference. Thank you.
And thank you to all of our candidates tonight for participating in the forum. A special thank you to the San Ramon Chamber of Commerce for helping us produce and record this, and to Maria Cooper from Above and Beyond Productions for also helping us produce this and being our timekeeper. A recording of this and the mayoral forum will be available on the San Ramon Chamber and Danville San Ramon websites very soon, and we will have a story on Danville San Ramon in a couple days. Danville San Ramon and its sister publication, the Pleasanton Weekly and pleasantonweekly.com, are the most trusted news sources in the Tri-Valley. You can stay up to date with our free weekday e-newsletter Express by signing up at danvillesanramon.com/express. Thank you again and have a good evening.
Thank you.